Hello, my friends. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, you've probably had moments where you sit back and ask yourself, how much time do I really have left? And do I have enough health and enough money to make the most of it? That's not just your question. It's the question of millions of Americans approaching or living in retirement. And the reality is, the answers aren't always comforting. One of the biggest challenges is the rising cost of healthcare after 65. A study from Fidelity shows that the average couple retiring at that age will need about $315,000 just for healthcare expenses over the course of retirement. And that's just the average. If you or your spouse are living with chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, or Alzheimer's, that number can climb much higher. The truth is, Medicare doesn't cover everything. It's a vital safety net, yes, but long-term custodial care, the kind of daily help many people eventually need, is not fully covered. That gap is where many retirement savings plans fall apart. And then there's inflation and longevity. When our parents retired, most people expected to live into their 70s. Today, many of us will live into our 80s or even 90s. That's good news, we have more years to enjoy life. But it also means our money has to stretch much further. Add inflation to the mix, and it becomes a real challenge. What costs $2 today may cost $4 or $5 in just a decade. Imagine living 25 years past retirement. You're fighting a constant uphill battle to make your dollars last. Chronic illness adds another layer of pressure. The CDC reports that nearly 80% of Americans over 65 live with at least one chronic condition. That means doctor visits, medications, and treatments become a regular part of life. And beyond that, more than 70% of seniors will need some form of long-term care. Whether it's at home, in assisted living, or in a nursing home. Without preparation, the cost of that care can wipe out a lifetime of savings. The financial reality for many retirees is sobering. According to the Federal Reserve, about 40% of retirees don't have enough savings to cover their basic expenses. That means millions of people are depending almost entirely on Social Security, which averages around $1,800 a month. Think about what that has to cover: housing, food, utilities, medical bills, maybe a car, maybe support for family. In today's economy, $1,800 barely scratches the surface. That's why so many older Americans are working part-time or leaning heavily on their children for support. This is why I want to introduce you to an important idea. Lifespan versus wealth span. Lifespan is how long you live. Wealth span is how long your money lasts. For too many people, their lifespan is outlasting their wealth span. They're living longer than their savings. And when that happens, retirement isn't about freedom or joy. It becomes about fear, dependency, and survival. Let me share one story that brings this to life. Susan, a woman from Florida, retired at 62 with about $200,000 in her 401k. She thought that, combined with Social Security, it would be enough. But at 70, she was diagnosed with early Alzheimer's. Within 5 years, nursing home costs had consumed all her savings. She ended up fully dependent on Medicaid, with little choice over the quality of care she received. Sadly, Susan's story isn't unusual. It's playing out in households across America every single day. So let me pause and ask you some questions. Do you know what your true health care costs might be after 65? Are you confident your savings, Medicare, and Social Security will be enough? Is your wealth span going to be longer than your lifespan or shorter? These are tough questions, but they're important ones. Here's the good news. While these realities are serious, they're not hopeless. There are legal strategies, financial tools, and health choices that can protect you and extend both your wealth span and your lifespan. And that's what this series is all about, helping you prepare so that your later years are not filled with worry, but with peace and fulfillment. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into Medicare and Medicaid, programs that most people think they understand but often miss out on. I'll show you the hidden benefits you may not know about, benefits that can save you thousands of dollars and give you greater security. And if you found value in this conversation, I'd love for you to hit like, subscribe, and stay with me as we continue this journey together. Because you deserve a retirement that's not just longer, but richer, healthier, and more meaningful. Chapter 2: Medicare and Medicaid. Legal rights you must know. Hello again, my friends. In the last chapter, we talked about the challenges that so many older Americans face. The rising cost of health care, the reality of longer lifespans, and the fear of outliving our money. Today, I want to bring us into something far more practical, something that can literally save you thousands of dollars every year while also protecting your health. I'm talking about your legal rights under Medicare and Medicaid. Now, I know the very mention of those two programs can make people sigh. Isn't that just endless paperwork and confusing rules? And yes, these programs can feel overwhelming. But once you understand the essentials, you'll see that Medicare and Medicaid are not just government programs. They are safety nets, ones that too many seniors fail to use simply because they don't know what they're entitled to. The first thing we need to clear up is the difference between the two. Medicare is health insurance provided by the federal government for people 65 and older. If you've worked and paid into Social Security, you qualify automatically no matter how much money you have. Medicaid, on the other hand, is both a federal and state program designed to help people with low income or limited resources. Seniors can and do qualify, especially when it comes to paying for long-term care. The simplest way to think about it is this: Medicare is about age. Medicaid is about need. Medicare itself is divided into four main parts. Part A covers hospital stays, skilled nursing for short periods, hospice, and some home health care. Part B covers doctor visits, outpatient services, and preventive care. Part C, better known as Medicare Advantage, bundles A and B together, often with extras like dental, vision, and hearing, provided through private insurers. And finally, Part D covers prescription drugs. Here's the critical part. Medicare does not cover long-term custodial care. If you need daily help with bathing, dressing, or eating, something very common in conditions like dementia, Medicare will not pay for that long-term care. That gap is why so many retirement savings accounts are wiped out. But Medicare also offers benefits that too many seniors don't take advantage of. Benefits that are completely free. Preventive care is one of the most overlooked treasures. You are legally entitled to an annual wellness visit with your doctor. You can get screenings for cancer, diabetes, and heart disease, vaccinations for flu and shingles, even counseling for nutrition, mental health, and smoking cessation. These are not extras. These are rights you've earned after a lifetime of paying into the system. Yet millions of people never use them simply because they don't know they exist. My advice: call your doctor, and if you haven't already, schedule your Welcome to Medicare visit. It won't cost you a dime, and it might save your life. Now let's turn to Medicaid. This program is the only one that will pay for long-term custodial care. The kind of care people need when they can no longer live independently. Nursing homes, home care programs, assisted living support. These can all fall under Medicaid. The catch is that Medicaid has strict income and asset limits. Many families assume that means they'll never qualify. But the truth is, with proper legal planning, Many middle-class seniors can qualify without losing everything. Attorneys call this Medicaid planning, and it's completely legal. In many states, your home can be protected. Special trusts can be created to safeguard assets for a spouse or children. Even spending down can be done strategically, so you don't simply lose everything to nursing home bills. The tragedy is that most families only learn about this when it's too late, when a loved one is already in a facility, and the money is already gone. Beyond Medicare and Medicaid, there's another area of law that every senior should know: advance directives. These are documents that give you control over your health care, even if you can't speak for yourself. An advance directive can include a living will, which spells out what kind of treatments you do or do not want at the end of life. It can also include a healthcare power of attorney, where you name someone you trust to make medical decisions on your behalf. Without these documents, decisions may be left to the state or to family members who disagree. That can create heartbreak, legal battles, and unnecessary costs. I'll give you two real examples. John, a retired teacher, had a stroke at 74. He had never signed a healthcare power of attorney. His children disagreed about what should be done, and the hospital couldn't act without clarity. In the end, the state court had to appoint a guardian. It was stressful, expensive, and emotionally devastating. Contrast that with Mary, who had her advance directives in place. When she fell ill, her daughter knew exactly what to do because Mary had already written down her wishes. No courts, no fighting, just peace of mind. So let me give you 3 action steps you can take today. First, schedule your Medicare wellness visit. It's free and it could literally save your life. Second, check your state's Medicaid rules. Even if you think you won't need it, knowing the rules now can protect your family later. And third, complete your advance directives. Have the conversation with your loved ones and put your wishes in writing. It's one of the greatest gifts you can leave your family. Medicare and Medicaid are more than programs. They are rights, safety nets you've earned and deserve to use. But they only work if you understand them and act on them. In the next chapter, we'll move from the healthcare side of retirement to the financial side. We'll look at the biggest money mistakes seniors make and how you can avoid them, so your wealth span lasts as long as your lifespan. And if this information has been useful, I'd be grateful if you gave this video a like, hit subscribe, and maybe even share it with someone you care about. You might just save them years of stress and thousands of dollars. Chapter 3: The Biggest Financial Mistakes Seniors Make. My friends, in the first 2 chapters, we looked at the real challenges of retirement and the legal rights you have under Medicare and Medicaid. Now let's shift to something just as important: your money. Specifically, the most common financial mistakes seniors make, and how you can avoid them. I want you to think of this chapter like a gentle warning from someone who's seen these mistakes play out again and again. Too often, people don't realize they've fallen into these traps until it's too late. But if you understand them now, you can protect yourself, protect your family, and make your wealth last longer than your lifespan. One of the biggest mistakes is falling for the promise of quick, easy investment schemes. You've seen the commercials. Double your money, guaranteed income. No risk. The sad truth is that older Americans are often targeted by financial scams and high-risk investments. The Federal Trade Commission reports that seniors lose billions of dollars every year to these kinds of schemes. Remember this rule: if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Stick to investments that are transparent, regulated, and in line with your risk tolerance. Another mistake is failing to factor healthcare into retirement planning. Many people set aside money for travel, hobbies, and daily living, but they underestimate the true cost of medical care. As we discussed earlier, a couple may need over $300,000 just for health expenses in retirement. If you don't plan for that, the money you thought would last for leisure can quickly disappear into hospital bills and prescriptions. A smart step here is to build healthcare costs directly into your retirement budget, so you're not blindsided later. Taxes are another area where retirees often trip up. Many seniors assume that once they stop working, their tax burden goes away. But withdrawals from traditional retirement accounts like a 401k or IRA are taxed as ordinary income. Social Security benefits may also be taxable, depending on your total income. And required minimum distributions can push you into a higher tax bracket without you realizing it. Ignoring tax planning can cost you thousands of dollars over the course of retirement. Working with a tax advisor to create a strategy, such as Roth conversions or tax-efficient withdrawals, can save you more than you might think. Then there's estate planning, or rather, the lack of it. Too many people avoid the topic because it feels uncomfortable. But here's the truth. If you don't have a will, a trust, or powers of attorney in place, the state will decide what happens to your money, your health, and even your home. That process, called probate, can be slow, costly, and stressful for your family. By setting up a basic estate plan, you not only control where your assets go, but you also protect your loved ones from unnecessary legal battles. A simple living trust, for example, can save your heirs thousands of dollars in court fees. Let me share a story. Robert, a widower, assumed his modest estate didn't need planning. "My kids will figure it out," he said. When he passed, everything went to probate. His children waited over a year before receiving a penny, and nearly a third of his estate was lost to fees and taxes. Now compare that with Linda, who took the time to set up a living trust and update her will. When she passed, her children received their inheritance within weeks. No court delays, no battles, no stress. That's the difference planning makes. So let's recap the major pitfalls. Chasing risky investments, underestimating healthcare costs, ignoring taxes, and neglecting estate planning. These are the 4 horsemen of financial stress in retirement. Avoiding them doesn't just save money, it buys you peace of mind. Here's what I recommend you do right now. First, review your investments. Ask yourself, are they truly safe and appropriate for my stage of life? Second, build healthcare into your retirement budget as a separate category, not an afterthought. Third, schedule a session with a tax advisor to discuss strategies for minimizing taxes on your retirement income. And fourth, if you don't already have an estate plan, make it a priority. Even a simple will and power of attorney can make a world of difference. The truth is, retirement is not just about how much you've saved. It's about how well you manage and protect what you have. By steering clear of these common mistakes, you extend your wealth span, reduce your stress, and give yourself and your family the gift of security. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into the strategies that can help you protect your assets and your health at the same time. We'll talk about tools like long-term care insurance, living trusts, and other legal protections that can shield you from the high cost of aging. And before we move on, let me invite you once again. If you're finding these lessons helpful, please hit like and subscribe. And maybe even share this video with someone you love. You never know whose future you might be helping. Chapter 4: Protecting Your Assets and Your Health Legally. My friends, in the last chapter we talked about the biggest financial mistakes seniors make. Risky investments, ignoring healthcare costs, overlooking taxes, and skipping estate planning. Now I want to take you one step further. Because protecting your money isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's also about using the legal tools that already exist to guard both your assets and your health. This is where many seniors feel overwhelmed. Words like trusts, long-term care insurance, and Medicaid planning can sound complicated, even intimidating. But I want you to think of these tools like locks on your doors. They're not there to confuse you. They're there to keep you safe. And just like you wouldn't leave your front door wide open, you don't want to leave your financial future unprotected. Let's start with one of the biggest concerns for older Americans: the cost of long-term care. As we've already discussed, Medicare does not cover custodial care, the kind of ongoing help you might need with bathing, dressing, or eating. That's where long-term care insurance comes in. This type of insurance is designed specifically to cover services like nursing homes, assisted living, or in-home care. Now, is long-term care insurance right for everyone? Not necessarily. If you're already in poor health or if the premiums are unaffordable, it may not make sense. But for healthy individuals in their 50s or early 60s, buying a policy can protect against the devastating cost of care later on. A nursing home can easily cost $90,000 a year or more. Without coverage, that can wipe out savings in just a few years. With coverage, you at least have a cushion that protects both you and your family. Next, let's talk about living trust. A living trust is one of the most effective legal tools to protect your assets. Think of it as a secure box where you place your home, your savings, and other property. You still control everything while you're alive, but when you pass away, those assets go directly to your heirs without going through probate. That means no costly court battles, no long delays, and no unnecessary stress for your loved ones. For families with property or significant savings, a living trust is often more valuable than a simple will. Trusts can also play a role in what's called Medicaid planning. Remember, Medicaid is the only program that will pay for long-term custodial care. But to qualify, your assets and income have to fall below certain limits. Many families assume that means they must spend everything down before they can apply. That's not always true. With proper planning, assets can be moved into certain types of trusts, protecting them for a spouse or children, while still allowing you to qualify for Medicaid when the time comes. This is completely legal, but it has to be done carefully, and ideally years before care is needed. Let me give you an example. The Johnsons, a middle-class couple, had worked their entire lives and saved about $300,000. When Mr. Johnson developed Parkinson's disease, his care costs quickly began eating into their savings. Thankfully, years earlier, they had worked with an elder law attorney to set up a trust. Because of that, much of their savings was protected, and Mrs. Johnson was able to keep her home and financial security, even while her husband qualified for Medicaid. Contrast that with another family I knew who didn't plan ahead. When the husband needed care, the wife was forced to sell their home and deplete almost everything before Medicaid stepped in. The difference? One simple step taken years earlier. And that's the point I want to stress. Legal planning is not about being wealthy, it's about being wise. Too many middle-class families think trusts, estate planning, or Medicaid strategies are only for the rich. But in reality, they are often most important for people of modest means. For the wealthy, losing a few $100,000 to long-term care may hurt, but it won't destroy them. For the average retiree, it can mean the difference between security and poverty. So what should you do today? First, review whether long-term care insurance makes sense for you or your spouse. If you're still in good health, it may be worth exploring. Second, speak with an attorney about setting up a living trust, especially if you own a home or have significant assets. Third, don't wait until a crisis hits to learn about Medicaid rules in your state. Planning early is what makes the difference. Protecting your assets and your health isn't about being fearful. It's about being prepared. By taking advantage of the legal tools available, you give yourself peace of mind and you give your family the gift of security. In the next chapter, we'll shift our focus to something just as critical: your health as your greatest asset. Because all the planning in the world means little if you don't have the energy and vitality to enjoy your years. We'll talk about practical ways to care for your body and mind, and how the law actually supports you in doing so. And as always, if this message resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Together, we can make sure that retirement is not something to fear, but something to truly enjoy. Chapter 5: Health as Your Greatest Asset. My friends, in the last chapter we looked at the legal tools you can use to protect your money, things like long-term care insurance, living trusts, and Medicaid planning. But today, I want to remind you of something even more valuable than money. Something you cannot pass down, cannot buy back, and cannot replace once it's gone. I'm talking about your health. We often say health is wealth, but as we age, this phrase takes on a deeper meaning. What good is a large retirement account if you don't have the energy to enjoy your grandchildren? What good is a paid-off house if you're too weak to leave it? Your savings and legal planning matter, yes, but your greatest asset is your body and mind. And the truth is, you have more control over your health than you might think. Let's start with nutrition. After 60, your body's needs change. You need fewer calories, but you need more nutrients. A diet rich in vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, and healthy fats can make a huge difference. It lowers the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and even some cancers. Small choices like replacing sugary snacks with fruit or choosing water instead of soda compound over time. Remember, you're not just feeding your stomach, you're fueling your future. Exercise is another cornerstone of health in later life. You don't need to run marathons or lift heavy weights. Simple, consistent movement is what matters. Walking, swimming, yoga, or light resistance training all help maintain muscle mass, strengthen bones, and keep joints flexible. The CDC recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate activity a week, but even 10 minutes a day is better than nothing. The point is to move every day in a way that feels good for you. Your body is like a bank account. Every step you take is a deposit. Every day you sit too long is a withdrawal. And let's not forget mental health. Loneliness and depression are silent threats to older Americans. They don't just affect mood. They can weaken the immune system, worsen chronic disease, and even shorten lifespan. Staying connected is essential. Join a community group, volunteer, or simply call a friend every day. Keeping your mind engaged is just as important. Read books, do puzzles, learn a new skill. Remember, the brain is a muscle too, and it thrives on use. Here's something many seniors don't realize. Medicare actually supports preventive health. That means you are legally entitled to screenings, vaccinations, and counseling at no extra cost. Annual wellness visits, flu shots, diabetes screenings, all covered. Yet millions of seniors don't use these benefits. They wait until they're sick before seeking help. But the law is designed to keep you healthy, not just treat you when you're ill. Don't leave these benefits unused. Call your doctor and make that appointment. It's your right. Technology can also play a role. Telemedicine, for example, has exploded in recent years. Many conditions can be monitored virtually, saving you time, travel, and energy. Legally, you have the right to access these services through Medicare and many private insurers. So if mobility or transportation is a challenge, ask your doctor about virtual care. Can be a game changer. Let me share a story. Paul, a 72-year-old retiree, had always thought of himself as healthy. But during his Medicare wellness visit, his doctor noticed subtle signs of diabetes. Because it was caught early, Paul was able to change his diet, exercise more, and avoid costly complications. That one free visit probably saved him years of medical bills, and more importantly, gave him a healthier, longer life. The lesson is simple. Caring for your health is one of the best investments you can make. Every walk you take, every healthy meal you eat, every doctor visit you attend is like putting money in the bank. But instead of dollars, you're banking days, months, even years of quality life. So here are your action steps. First, review your diet and make one small, sustainable change this week. Maybe it's adding one serving of vegetables each day. Second, commit to moving more. A daily walk, a stretch routine, or a fitness class with friends. Third, use the preventive care benefits that are already yours under Medicare. Don't wait for illness. Get ahead of it. Protecting your health doesn't mean avoiding aging. It means embracing it with strength, vitality, and dignity. You deserve to not only add years to your life but also add life to your years. In the next chapter, we'll take a look at the flip side of health, the opportunities it creates in the world of investing. Because the health industry is booming in America, and for seniors who want their money to grow safely, it may hold some of the best opportunities of our time. And as always, if these lessons are bringing value to you, please take a moment to like this video, hit subscribe, and share it with a friend. Together, we can build a future where aging isn't something to fear, but something to celebrate. Smart and safe investment opportunities. My friends, in the last chapter we talked about health as your greatest asset. But today I want to look at health from another angle, not just how you care for it, but how you can invest in it. Because while health care costs are a challenge, the health industry itself has become one of the fastest growing markets in America. And for seniors looking for safe, smart investment opportunities, this trend could work in your favor. Let's start with the big picture. The U.S. healthcare industry is enormous, already worth trillions of dollars, and it's only growing. Why? Because people are living longer, and they're spending more on health and wellness than ever before. From prescription drugs to fitness apps, from medical technology to senior housing, the demand is rising. That means there are investment opportunities not just for Wall Street, but for everyday investors like you. One area seeing explosive growth is biotechnology. Companies developing new drugs and therapies are transforming medicine at a rapid pace. Breakthroughs in cancer treatment, Alzheimer's research, and genetic medicine are changing lives. Now, biotech can be risky if you're picking individual companies because not every new drug gets approved. But through mutual funds or ETFs focused on biotech, you can spread out the risk while still benefiting from the sector's growth. Another area is health and wellness technology. Think about how telemedicine, fitness trackers, and digital health apps have become part of everyday life. These aren't fads, they're part of the future. Companies that provide tools for remote care or devices that monitor heart rate, blood sugar, or sleep patterns are becoming essential in a society that values preventive care. And because Medicare and private insurers are increasingly covering these services, the market is expanding quickly. Then there's real estate investment trusts or REITs that focus on healthcare. These allow you to invest in the infrastructure of healthcare, like senior housing, nursing facilities, and medical office buildings. They pay dividends, which can be a steady source of income for retirees, and they're tied to a sector that's only going to keep growing as more Americans age. For many seniors, healthcare REITs are a safe way to benefit from the industry without taking on too much risk. Of course, whenever we talk about investing, we also have to talk about scams. Unfortunately, seniors are often the primary targets of fraudulent schemes, especially in areas like health investments. You may see ads for miracle cures or guaranteed returns in the wellness space. Be cautious. Remember the golden rule. If it sounds too good to be true, it almost always is. Stick with regulated investments, work with trusted advisors, and never rush into a deal that pressures you to act fast. Now let me share a story. Margaret, a retired nurse, wanted to keep her savings working for her. Instead of chasing high-risk stocks, she put part of her portfolio into a healthcare REIT. Each quarter, she received steady dividend checks that helped cover her living expenses. Over time, those checks added up to thousands of dollars, giving her peace of mind and extra income without the stress of watching volatile markets. The lesson is simple. You don't have to gamble to grow your money. By choosing smart, safe opportunities in industries that are growing like healthcare, you align your investments with long-term trends. You're not trying to outsmart the market. You're simply letting the market's direction work for you. So here are some action steps. First, look into diversified funds that focus on healthcare or biotech. They spread risk while giving you exposure to growth. Second, explore healthcare REITs if you want steady income and don't want the hassle of owning property directly. Third, always consult a financial advisor who understands your age, your goals, and your risk tolerance. Investing in your 70s is very different from investing in your 40s. The goal isn't just growth, it's stability and income. In the end, investing in health isn't only about money. It's about meaning. You're supporting industries that extend life, improve quality of care, and help people live healthier, happier years. And when your investments are aligned with your values, the rewards feel even greater. In our next chapter, we'll step back from the financial side and look at something more personal, the mindset of retirement. Because how you think about aging, your philosophy, your outlook, can be just as important as your bank account. And I'll share some simple practices to help you not just survive retirement, but truly thrive in it. And before we close, if this message resonates with you, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. Because the greatest investment you can make is not just in yourself, but in your community. The mindset and philosophy of retirement. My friends, we've spent the past chapters talking about the financial and legal sides of retirement, how to protect your assets, how to use Medicare and Medicaid, and even how to find smart investment opportunities. But now I want to shift gears. Because as important as money and health are, there's another element that often gets overlooked: your mindset. Retirement is not just a financial transition, it's a psychological and emotional one. For decades, your life may have been defined by work, raising children, or fulfilling responsibilities. Then suddenly those roles change. You may have more time than ever before, but if you don't have the right mindset, that time can feel empty instead of full. One of the most common traps is living with fear and regret. Some people wake up in retirement worried about running out of money, worried about their health, or regretting the things they didn't do earlier in life. That mindset can rob you of joy. The truth is, worry doesn't add a single day to your life, but it can take away the quality of the days you have. Another trap is what I call the scarcity mindset. This is when you see aging as a countdown clock, time slipping away, opportunities lost. But there's another way to see it: the abundance mindset. Instead of focusing on what you no longer have, Focus on what you still have: wisdom, time to choose how you live, and the freedom to shape your days. Abundance is not about money. It's about perspective. Let me tell you about James, a retired engineer. When he first stopped working, he felt restless and purposeless. "I'm just waiting around," he told me. But after some reflection, he shifted his mindset. He began mentoring young engineers, volunteering at a local school, and even starting a woodworking hobby he'd always dreamed about. His days went from empty to meaningful, not because of money but because of mindset. This brings me to the real heart of retirement: meaning and connection. Studies show that people who stay socially active live longer and healthier lives. Volunteering, joining community groups, even something as simple as calling a friend every day can dramatically improve your well-being. Retirement isn't about stepping away from life. It's about stepping into a new chapter with purpose. Gratitude is another powerful practice. Each morning, take a moment to name 3 things you're thankful for. It could be as simple as the smell of coffee, the laugh of a grandchild, or the fact that you woke up to another day. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, and that shift can transform how you experience aging. Now let's address something important. It's never too late. Some people believe they've missed their chance, whether it's to travel, to learn, or to repair relationships. But I've seen countless examples of seniors who start new businesses in their 70s, pick up new skills in their 80s, and even find new love later in life. Retirement is not the end of your story. It can be the most creative and fulfilling chapter, if you choose to see it that way. So here are some action steps to help you shape your retirement mindset. First, reflect on what gives your life meaning. Is it family? Creativity? Service? Build more of that into your daily routine. Second, practice gratitude each day, even for small things. Third, stay socially engaged. Don't isolate yourself. And finally, allow yourself to dream again. Write down one thing you've always wanted to do, and take one small step toward it this week. In the end, retirement is not about escaping life's challenges. It's about embracing life with a new perspective. Your wealth and health matter, but your outlook shapes how you experience them. When you choose abundance, gratitude, and purpose, every day can feel like a gift, no matter your age. In the next chapter, we'll bring together everything we've talked about so far: health, money, and mindset, and look at how the law itself can actually help you live not only longer but better. We'll uncover tax-saving strategies, fraud protections, and legal rights that most seniors don't realize they have. And if you found value in this lesson, I'd love for you to hit like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend, because mindset grows stronger when it's shared. Using the law to live healthier and wealthier. My friends, so far in this series we've talked about the challenges of aging, the importance of protecting your money, and the power of mindset. But now I want to shine a light on something many people overlook. The law itself can be your ally. Most of us think of the law as rules and restrictions, but in reality, there are legal protections, rights, and strategies designed to help you live not just longer, but also healthier and wealthier. The key is knowing they exist and using them. Let's begin with taxes. Many seniors believe that once they retire, their tax burdens shrink. But retirement income can still be taxed in ways that surprise people. Withdrawals from 401(k)s and traditional IRAs are taxed as ordinary income. Social Security benefits may also be taxable, depending on your total income. And once you reach your 70s, required minimum distributions, those RMDs, can suddenly push you into a higher bracket. But here's the good news. With the right strategies, you can reduce your tax bill legally. Roth IRA conversions, for example, can help you lock in tax-free growth for the future. Strategic withdrawals, taking money from different accounts at different times, can minimize taxes year by year. These aren't loopholes, they're smart legal ways to make your money last longer. Another important legal shield involves fraud protection. Sadly, older Americans are frequent targets of scams. Phone calls pretending to be the IRS, emails offering miracle cures, fake charities, all designed to prey on trust. But you should know, there are laws on your side. The Senior Safe Act, for example, allows banks and financial advisors to report suspected exploitation without breaking privacy rules. Many states also have elder abuse statutes that provide extra penalties for those who target seniors. Knowing this, you can feel empowered to speak up. If something feels suspicious, report it. The law is there to back you up. There are also special benefits many seniors don't even realize they qualify for. Veterans, for instance, may be entitled to health care, pensions, or disability benefits that can ease the burden of retirement. Some states offer property tax breaks for seniors. Others provide free or discounted legal aid for issues like housing or debt. These programs aren't handouts. They are rights earned through service, age, or circumstance. But unless you ask, you may never receive them. A call to your local area agency on aging can often reveal benefits you didn't know were available. One area that often goes ignored is legal preparedness for health care. We've talked about advanced directives, but there are other tools as well. A durable power of attorney ensures that someone you trust can manage your finances if you become unable. HIPAA authorizations allow doctors to share your medical information with family members you choose. These documents are simple, but they carry enormous weight. Without them, decisions may be delayed or made by people you wouldn't have chosen. With them, your wishes are respected and your care is smoother. Let me share a story. Harold, a veteran, lived modestly after retiring. For years, he struggled to pay his property taxes and rising medical bills. Only later did he learn that he qualified for both a veteran's pension and a property tax reduction in his state. These legal rights, once activated, lifted a heavy financial burden and gave him peace of mind. Contrast that with Nancy, who never set up a durable power of attorney. When she fell ill, her children were unable to pay her bills or access her accounts. They had to go through an expensive court process just to help her. The difference between Harold and Nancy? Awareness and action. So here are your action steps. First, review your tax strategy. Meet with a financial advisor or tax professional who understands retirement planning. Ask about Roth conversions, withdrawal sequencing, and minimizing Social Security taxes. Second, educate yourself on fraud protection. Hang up on suspicious calls. Never share personal information with strangers and report scams. Third, explore benefits you may qualify for, especially if you're a veteran, a homeowner, or living on a limited income. And fourth, make sure your legal documents are up to date. Wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and advance directives. The law is not just about punishment, it's also about protection. By using the tools already available to you, you can strengthen your health, protect your wealth, and give yourself the peace of mind you deserve. In the next chapter, we'll take an even more personal turn. We'll talk about the inspiring stories of people who discovered that it's never too late to change your path, protect your future, and create a meaningful retirement. These stories are proof that no matter where you are, today can be a new beginning. And before we wrap up, I want to encourage you. If you found value in this lesson, please hit like, click subscribe, and share this video with someone who might benefit. Because when we share knowledge, we share strength. Chapter 9, It's Never Too Late. Inspiring Stories and Lessons. My friends, over the past chapters we've explored many practical things. How to protect your money, how to use Medicare and Medicaid, how to plan legally, and even how to invest wisely. But I want to pause here and remind you of something powerful. It's never too late. Too often I hear people say, if only I had started saving earlier, or it's too late for me to change my health now. These thoughts are natural, but they're also limiting. The truth is, whether you're 65, 75, or even 85, it's never too late to make changes that improve your life. Small steps today can lead to meaningful transformations tomorrow. Let me share some real stories. Take Evelyn, who retired at 68. She had never traveled outside the U.S. and always regretted it. At 72, she decided she wasn't going to let age stop her. She joined a senior travel group and took her very first trip abroad. Over the next 5 years, she visited 6 countries. She often said, I thought the best part of life was behind me, but I discovered some of the best memories were still ahead. Then there's George. At 70, after losing his wife, he felt empty and disconnected. But instead of withdrawing, he took a step forward. He started volunteering at a local food pantry. That one decision changed everything. He found new friendships, a renewed sense of purpose, and eventually even met someone new. George learned that giving back doesn't just help others. It heals your own heart. We also have examples in the financial world. Mary had very little savings when she retired. At first, she felt ashamed and hopeless. But she worked with a financial counselor, downsized her home, and started investing modestly in dividend-paying funds. Within a few years, she had a stable monthly income stream. She told me, I can't change the past, but I can still change my future. That's the power of taking action, even late in the game. What ties all these stories together is mindset. These people didn't let regret paralyze them. They didn't let fear of being too old stop them from trying. Instead, they asked, what can I do today with the time and resources I have? And then they acted. So let me ask you, what's one thing you've always wanted to do, but told yourself it's too late? Maybe it's learning to paint, writing your story, reconnecting with an old friend, or starting a side business. Whatever it is, I encourage you, don't put it off any longer. Start with one small step this week. Call that friend. Sign up for that class. Write the first page. It's important to remember that consistency matters more than timing. It doesn't matter if you didn't start saving at 30 or exercising at 40. What matters is that you start now and keep going. Even small, steady steps compound over time. And more than the financial or physical gains, you'll gain confidence and a sense of control over your life. Here's a simple exercise I'd like you to try. After this video, grab a piece of paper and write down 3 small actions you can take in the next 7 days to improve your life. It could be making a healthy meal, scheduling a doctor's visit, calling your grandchild, or reviewing your finances. Don't overthink it, just choose 3 doable steps. And then commit to doing them. By next week, you'll already feel the difference. The message of this chapter is simple. You are not powerless, and it is not too late. Whether your goal is better health, stronger finances, or a richer sense of purpose, you can begin right now. The past may shape you, but it doesn't have to define your future. Here's the roadmap I want you to carry forward. 1. Face reality with courage. Know your numbers, your expenses, your health needs, your savings. Don't hide from the truth. Clarity is power. 2. Use your rights. Medicare, Medicaid, preventive care, veterans benefits, these are not favors. They are your legal entitlements. Claim them. 3. Avoid the pitfalls. Stay away from scams and risky investments. Plan for taxes and estate matters before they become crises. 4. Protect what you have. Use trusts, insurance, and legal planning to safeguard both your assets and your loved ones. 5. Invest in yourself. Your body, your mind, and your relationships are the most valuable assets you own. Treat them with care. 6. Choose smart opportunities. Align your investments with industries that are growing and meaningful, like healthcare. 7. Shift your mindset. Practice gratitude, stay engaged, and remember that abundance is a choice, not just a condition. 8. Use the law as a shield. Protect yourself from fraud, minimize taxes, and secure your future with the right documents. 9. Take action now. No matter your age or circumstances, it is never too late to begin. Small steps matter. If you hold on to these 9 principles, you'll have a roadmap that carries you through retirement with strength, dignity, and joy. Before we close, I want to leave you with this thought. Retirement is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a new chapter, one that you get to write with intention. You've earned the right to live with peace, with freedom, and with meaning. Don't let fear or regret take that away. Instead, let knowledge, preparation, and gratitude guide you. And finally, my friends, thank you. Thank you for walking through these lessons with me. If you found value here, I invite you to like this video, hit subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. Because when we share wisdom, we multiply its power. This is not goodbye. It's just the close of one lesson and the start of another. In future videos, we'll continue exploring the ways you can protect yourself, grow, and thrive at every stage of life. Until then, remember, you deserve a retirement that is not only long, but also rich in health, wealth, and purpose. My friends, if today's lesson brought you value, I'd be honored if you took a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Ageless Lessons. When you do, you won't miss the powerful strategies and inspiring stories we share every week, designed to help you live longer, healthier, and wealthier with purpose. And if you know someone, a parent, a friend, a neighbor who could benefit from these lessons, please share this video with them. Together, we can build a community where aging is not something to fear, but something to celebrate. So go ahead, hit subscribe, join us, and let's keep writing the next best chapter of your life together.